Good morning, everybody. Uh-oh. Oh, how's everybody doing this morning?
Doing well.
It's
Well,
all good.
so good. Oh, great.
Ready for some adventures.
Yay, adventuring. So, where we left off is you guys had come back across you'd met Wilhelmina in the town on the other side of Twilight Gap, and then had come back, met up with Snagraz, who had taken a wonderful opportunity to catalog, organize, and document virtually everything that the previous magic user of Twilight Mansion had been working on, and then traveled back across to deliver to assist Wilhelmina in finishing her current contract with a merchant, and then along that path had come across a pack of displacer beasts. Managed to eliminate all the displacer beasts and get back into the town, which still does not have a name. We will get to that later.
I won't
And
ask then.
and had spent the next 4 days as a massive snowstorm kind of came into the area, and spent the day. So, how did you guys spend the 4 days in the town after escorting the merchant and having your days of downtime?
I need spell components.
Okay.
I need 2 platinum rings worth 50 gold pieces each.
Okay. There was a shop. You went. The party introduced you to Jorgensen, a Arctic blue scaled lizard man, who pointed you to a magic another shop where you can get things like that, and you're able to pick those up fairly easy. As well as any other spell components that you needed.
I think
Hillary,
that's
did you
all.
need gold? Did you need gold for that, Hillary?
I don't believe so. Let me just check my pouch here. No, I am good. Thank you, though. I appreciate that. Let me take out 100 gold.
While we're in there, I'll pick up some of my components that I'll need for my paladin spells as well.
Okay, okay.
And then we also were going to try to see. Obsidian and I had in our first travels seen the madman that had talked about the shadows. We wanted to see if we could locate him if he'd made it back to the town and try to get some more information from him.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
That would be a dirty 20.
Okay. You were able to locate him. He was put up in one of the lodging houses. He's a little bit better. Still kind of out there, and kind of go every so often, but he's in a much better state of mind than when you found him.
Would a lesser restoration spell be of assistance to him?
At this point, no, because it's been a few days since you've seen him. He's had a chance to get a warm meal and kind of sit in there. But if you think it'll help, you're more than welcome to try.
And where did we find him?
One of the lodging houses.
Thank you.
He came in the guild hall, kind of they put him up, and he's been kind of recuperating.
I wanted to ask him, you mentioned something about the shadows. What was that?
He sits there and he talks. He tells you how he was with a merchant caravan that had come through and had been ambushed by various shadows. And while he was sitting there, just traumatized, he saw that there was a large, shadowy creature that flew through the air overhead from time to time. So he was very distraught over that and seeing all of his friends die. So it was kind of a real traumatic experience. So he had just kind of lost it. But
Do any of us know what kind of creature that would have been?
That was, yeah. Based on his description, is there a way for us to kind of determine what that might possibly be?
go ahead and give me a nature check. Oh, and in the chat, reminder, if you want to ask question, do question in all caps or comment in all caps. It should filter over, and we'll get to those at the break. What was
I got a 19.
Okay. John, were you doing a nature check as well?
Yeah, I did. What would Wilhelmina get?
You got a 19.
Yeah, she beats mine. I only got a 14.
Okay. Listening to this description and this size, there are very few creatures that are large enough to be seen in the air. That I mean, he's describing it. You're thinking, okay, it's a winged creature. Could be. It doesn't seem too big. It could be a cloaker, but there was but it was higher up than that. Maybe a griffin, or a manticore, or possibly even a dragon.
Those went up in levels of scariness.
Pretty
Yeah,
rapidly.
I did. You didn't think I was just going to give you the exact answer, did you? I had to give you something to think about. Come on. But when you think about large flying creatures, what do you talk about? Because
So you said it flew higher than like a cloaker, but so we're looking.
You're looking at
the levels above that. So griffin,
manticore, dragon,
something like that.
A small, a younger dragon. Wilhelmina, you're leaning more toward the larger thing because hitting how high up and the fact it was still a large shadow, that kind of puts it closer to. It's got to be something really
goody.
Lovely.
Possibly Shadowfell touched.
Yeah. The descriptions of what his party was attacked by fit with what Obsidian and Barum and Day and I faced, the specters and shadows and those kind of things.
Yes, those kinds of creatures, cloakers, displacer beasts, all of those things. His was particularly attacked by some shadows or mastiffs or something, some kind of shadowy animal, and then some shadowy creatures.
Okay.
But the whole thing was wiped out, but the interesting thing is you found them. There was no wreckage of carts or anything. So something came by and took. If they had any carts, took carts. If they didn't, where did all the rest of the bodies go?
Right. I'll turn to the group and I think perhaps it would be wise for us to go back to the fortress and see what more we can learn in the library and any other items or areas that we may have overlooked in our initial endeavors there.
I think you are right.
At the mention of the library, Shragnaz is going to sidle up to him and sort of just pull on his sleeve a little bit and sort of go, Chinese?
Shinies. However, before we leave, the magic user or the keeper of the magic shop, I'll ask if he knows where we could possibly have someone use the pelts from the displacer beasts that we have.
Yes.
And create displacer cloaks, and how long it would take, and what kind of an arrangement we could make.
Okay. So.
Displacer cloaks. They're so cool.
The cloaks. Oh, I know that's the claw, isn't it? The claw.
That's the claw.
So you go and visit Jorgensen, or while you guys have been in town, Go ahead and give me investigation check. As a group, kind of a group challenge on that. Since you're all looking for this and you're all asking for it.
Who has the best, and then we can just assist, right? Or how do you want to run it?
To do that,
I have a plus
Uh,
5.
I
I've
think
got,
four.
+4.
yeah, I've got +4 as well. Just rolled a 19 to help with that one.
Okay, well, I guess this is Wilhelmina doing the shopping exploration.
Just don't have me negotiate. I'll let somebody else do
I was
that.
gonna say I'll handle the negotiation portion.
So am I rolling with advantage or?
If someone's going to assist, then yeah, you could roll with advantage.
That is a 24.
Okay. Speaking with Jorgensen about it, he doesn't have any, but he does know someone in town, and conveniently, it happens to be happens to be the same shop you got your components. So when you were getting your components, this conversation came up. The individual, the shopkeep there, a gnome artificer, is sitting there and was looking through it and said, "Well, the possible, but the problem with these is they're kind of losing their enchantment because the beast is dead. So it would take a little bit of research to try and create something similar. But he would need some time to do that, and kind of estimates maybe about 45 days to possibly fashion a set of cloaks for you guys. That can't guarantee it's going to be the full properties of the displacer beast, but it might be of some assistance."
And so negotiating costs and how that will work.
He's he's kind of or she's kind. We'll call it a female gnome artificer shopkeep.
What's your name?
At least it wasn't me this time. Wasn't me this time.
Hey, you know what? We'll call her Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell, the gnome artificer.
Yep.
Can I call you Tink?
Yes, you may.
Tink the Tinkerer.
Bell.
Hey, if nothing else, they'll look really cool.
All right. So Tink
Keep the little tentacly bits on it.
Yeah. Tink looks over it, and of course, she's like, "Well, research materials. I'd say probably 30,000 gold to make the 4 cloaks. Because you just have the hides. You don't have. I have to look up all the rest of it in the research."
What if we threw in an extra hide for you to make one for yourself that you could either keep or sell? How would that do for
Oh, that would bring it down.
negotiation?
You'd be willing to go for about 20,000.
I'm gonna try to persuade her to take less.
Okay.
Dirty 20.
That's a lot of gold.
All right. What's your counter offer?
I'll kind of huddle with the party. How much do you think for the 4 cloaks? What do we want to kick out for that?
Well, at this moment in
She's
time,
asking 20.
Shrag's currently like pulling his pockets out and like sort of looking and hands you some lint.
We don't have anywhere near that.
I know that's why I'm trying to negotiate it down. But what do you think we should counter offer? She's saying 20, and that's throwing in our extra pelt.
I don't think.
You want to see if I can ask her to get it down to 10? That would be.
Well, you have 6 pelts. You could give her all 6 pelts. They try to work through it,
I
or
thought
do
it
you
was
still
5.
want?
I thought it was 5.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it was 5 too.
Oh yeah, 5 displacers. That's right. That's right. My bad.
So do
So,
one
yeah,
for
all
each
5
of us
pelts.
and then give her the 5th.
Yeah.
Could we suggest to her that seem we're heading back out the way and on our travels we might find stuff that may be of interest to her? If the pelt's already of interest, maybe we can find something else for her as well as a bit of a favour.
could do that, but that still doesn't bring the cost down much.
Well, if there's something that she wants, if we say counter offer with 10, and then say and balance it out with if there's something you're after, some rare ingredients or something you need, we're heading off to the Shadowfell. Is there anything we can bring her back? So that while she's working on it, we can counter the payments at the end of it.
Okay. So I'll go back to her with that counter offer and say, how about 10, and we try to find something for you that you might be interested in if we come across it.
We're going to the Shadowfell.
He's intrigued and is willing to take you on credit on that. Bring back something, some items of interest from the Shadowfell, and she will reduce the price. And right now, she just kind of put it on a tab for your group. And she asks, "So, what shall I put down as the name of your group for this tab?"
Uh-oh.
You didn't think I was gonna get back at you, didn't I? You bust me on names, I'm getting you now. You got to give me a name for your group.
Oh,
Group huddle.
Group huddle, figure it out.
Oh, crap, we have to come up with a group name now.
Shrag says, last time got asked this was in coffee shop.
Yeah. That is a tough one.
You, everyone drinking their coffee.
Oh man.
I mean, did
so
we
bad
not?
at coming up with names for things.
I'm not good at it either.
See? Not easy when you're on the spot like that.
No, it's not.
So, well, just tell her. Well, since we're going to the Shadowfell, just put it under the name Obsidian, and we'll come back to you with a group name later.
How the hell did I get on the hook for this?
Because you're the treasurer.
Okay, just throwing an idea out very quickly for a temporary name. Is we're all pretty stealthy. We're going out in the snow, so Snow Shadows.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Even if it's only a temporary one, just to give us something to put on the chip paper that means we've got the right stuff when we get back.
Works
Does that
for
make you
me.
feel better, Obsidian?
Thank you, Shrek.
No shadow.
Is that right now, donkey? Get out of my swamp.
Okay,
Like
so
Snow Shadows, that's good.
all right, Snow Shadows is good. She writes that down in her ledger, accepts the pelts, and tells you about 45 days to start working on them. And the agreement is you'll bring back something or some things of interest from the Shadowfell for her research.
Does she have anything specific she's looking for?
She's just kind of out for any kind of knowledge. So anything knowledge or something to help with her research. She isn't really specific because the Shadowfell is kind of an unknown place. So whatever you guys might find will be good. And then it's kind of at your discretion. What you think you find is going to be of value to an artificer, tinkerer's person.
We are guaranteed to find something unique there.
Yep. And she does comment. She thinks your arm and leg are very interesting, very fascinating.
No, I let her kind of check out the arm.
So she's quite impressed with the craftsmanship.
I show her how the shield comes out. Boing, 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 boing,
Yep.
boing.
So yeah, she's quite impressed with that. So
Does
you.
Shrag notice that? Or
What?
could Shrag notice that? The fact that she was showing an interest in the arms stuff.
give me a perception. I mean, it's not going to be that hard considering she extends the shield.
Yeah. Okay, that's a roll of 17.
Oh yeah, you can definitely tell, and even you're like, ooh, shiny.
So, Shrag's going to walk up and sort of stand between them and just sort of look at them both a bit. And he's going to go, interested? To the shopkeeper.
She's like, very. It's always good to admire another person's handiwork.
Are
So,
you trying to sell my arm?
so I'm concerned at that point, Shrag will turn to Wilhelmina and he's going to wink at her. Like, Let's go. Sketch, diagrams, schematics. Interesting.
I relaxed a little bit.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. He'll store that bit of information for later.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Anything else you wish to accomplish while you're in town?
What day do we do this with Tinkerbell?
This is probably the second day or so in. Take a day to rest, and then... So this is just kind of within that 4 days you're in town, kind of looking through and finding information. Talking with the guy you met before, resting, eating lots of biscuits and gravy.
There it is.
Oh yeah.
Although coincidentally, it's not quite as good as the Crooked Tooth, but it's passable here.
Not bad.
But I think we're going to need to go back to the Crooked Tooth before long.
Definitely.
As I
Where
said,
are
did
they
they-
in Barham? Weren't
They're
they
out.
traveling with you?
They're out doing their own. They got called back to do something of their own, but they will be able to rejoin us if they wish. They have the means to do so.
Okay, cool.
I want to make sure to find a good coffee shop that has the Battle Master offered here in this town as well.
Stuck up on that.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we should bring some grounds with us, and then if we can find some warm water while we're out, hot water while we're out, we can make some on the road.
See if we can find any, of course. Anything else anybody needs?
Shrag will have brought some notes from the library with him that they've been going through, and obviously just making sure he's up to speed on the layout of the teleportation circle, so if we need to reattach back to it, he's got all the information he needs.
Okay. Do you want to take some time with the drop pods?
Familiarize ourselves with those? Yeah, for sure.
Drop pods?
Those are the means, those are the sending stones. That's going to be the means for Day and Barham to be able to return to us.
Oh,
They're essentially ramped up sending stones, and they have a certain number of charges, and so they operate as a normal sending stone, but also have the ability to transport to the other location of the matched pair. But you can only do it. I think it takes 2 charges for the teleport, and they only have 4 charges per day.
oh, so you can kind of go.
It would be there, yeah,
Back.
basically there and back, type of a thing.
That's cool.
And they work as a group. We can add them. We can add stones to the group, but it's 50,000 gold per additional stone.
Yeah,
Just a little, huh?
just a touch.
Just a little.
Just a tad.
You didn't think it
And
was
it-
cheap. did
we've-
you?
We've already redistributed the other match sets of sending stones, correct? So you guys have marked those on your character sheets so that we can all, the 4 of us, remain in contact. Okay, cool.
Yes, indeedy.
Just making sure. So yeah, so that's the difference between the drop pods and the normal sending stones.
Drop pod, that's great. I love it.
Uh,
For adding the silver rings to my inventory, should I just put them in as a signet ring? This is the only non-magical ring I see in the D&D Beyond inventory.
Really?
The rest is all like ring mail.
Yeah. You could go with the signet ring, and then just you can
Customize
D&D
it.
Beyond is nice because you can customize those things, so you can add them and then go click over the customize and then put in the change the name and all that other stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really good if you're trying to like there's so much customization options you can do.
Got it. That's awesome. Okay.
Also, at some point, Shraggy is going to be stood behind Will, and you'll feel a little sort of poke in your back,
Yes.
and he'll be stood there, sort of like big grin on his face, and he's got sort of like a wand in his hand. He's like sort of waving it backwards and forwards, and he then sort of holds it out to you. For you, shiny,
What you
very
guys
very
have
shiny.
You guys have already given me so many things.
And he basically looks at his pockets and goes, "No room."
Well, thank you.
So
She takes
he will hand you the wand of illumination.
How illuminating. What does it do?
Shiny.
It is
Literally.
very tiny.
Very shiny.
That should be there on the custom items for you to add, literally known as the wand of illumination. It's a blue item.
Yep, got it.
Cool.
Is it something I have to attune to?
Yes.
Yes, it does require attunement. It has in the time you take it to attune to it, so I'll read this off. The wand has 17 charges. While holding it, you can use an action to expend one or more charges to cast. It has the ability to cast the light spell. It has the ability to cast continual flame, but that takes 2 charges. It has the ability to cast sunburst, which takes 3 charges. The wand will regain 1d6 plus 1 charges daily at dawn. If you expend the wand's last charge, you have to roll a d20. On a 1, the wand crumbles to ash.
Okay, let's not do that. This is really cool. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
They give you a really big toothy grin and just sort of like shuffle his hat a bit, a little bit embarrassed, and then like disappear off.
Alright.
So I think if we've gotten all of our town items or tasks taken care of, then we can probably take our long rest and then prepare to head out to the fortress.
I'm very intrigued to see what we can find there.
Did
I
we
need to
stop
make
by
sure.
the guild on our way out? Make sure they don't need anything to go to.
Good
the
idea.
mansion?
Good idea.
Yeah.
Go back and before we leave, talk to Stephen Ramergen.
He's in his office. He thanks you for everything, but things are pretty good right now. Travel is kind of moving. It's a little slow. He does tell you that there have been a couple of reports of attacks along the path, but nothing to the level it was prior to your arrival. So, but he also talks about he also says there have been stories of some large shadowy creature that has flown over and been passing through.
The flying shadow again.
We've heard
And
these stories as well. Any
that's
hint as to what it might be?
He's unsure. It's a large creature, so whatever it is probably something that needs to be wary of.
Okay.
something we're going to need to take care of at some point.
Yeah, I have a feeling that will make its way into our path sooner rather than later. So I need to have dispel magic, yes?
Yes, we are
I
going
will
to need.
ask my god to give me that today.
And then the ring of spell storing.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably throw some into that. Whoever's carrying that.
Yeah, so was it a couple of the shocking graph scoop? I mean, obviously it's got, was it 5 levels we can put into it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's the standard ring of spell storing. Look that up on D&D Beyond. You should be able to see what you can do.
Cool, okay. I mean, can you sort of drain the spells out of it without having to cast them so we can free room up in it?
Yeah, I mean, shouldn't be any problem. It should be able to. You're kind of just burning those spells off and then putting them in again.
Cool.
I don't know what sunburst is.
Sunburst is a brilliant sunlight flashes in a radius of 60 feet, centered at a point you choose within range. Each creature in the light must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 12d6 radiant damage and is blinded for 1 minute. On a successful save, it takes half as much damage and isn't blinded.
This is an 8th level spell.
Yep.
Holy mackerel.
But it takes
Kind of
few
a handy
charges.
wand. Yeah, kind of a handy wand.
Yeah. Wow.
Actually, Steve, looking at it, if there's only 2 of that Shocking Grasp in the ring, the Dispel Magic's only a 3rd level, so we just put 1 Dispel Magic into it to fill up the 5 slots.
There you
We'll
go.
keep the spells in there.
I'll readjust that.
The DM giveth, and the DM taketh away.
No, you're fine. You're fine with yours.
And Scoob, before we leave in the morning, obviously I'll do Druid Craft to see what the weather's going to be like on the journey.
But of course you will.
He's ready for that one.
Yeah, I'm getting much better at it.
How many beads does my necklace of prayer beads have? It has 1d4 plus 2 magic beads.
That was the one that we gave you. It had 4 beads on it, but they're all cure.
They're all cure.
Yeah, it's all cure wounds.
Okay.
So you don't, unless you tear them off, they just recharge daily.
Okay. Cool beans. I'm excited to get to this library. I have a feeling we're going to find some really interesting things there.
All right. For your Druid Craft weather, it's going to be normal for the season this time of year, so cold. It's going to be a strong wind today, strong wind over the next 24 hours, and no precipitation in the forecast.
I relay that.
Good. Do not want to be rained on.
Yeah. Cold, wet weather gear is not the best thing going.
It's very uncomfortable. Your boots get all squishy. It's not fun.
All right. Shall we head out?
We shall.
Actually, just one thing. On the morning when we wake up, I will be seen in a corner of the room with a piece of paper, just sort of like scribbling madly some words down to a page. Probably won't make any sense to anybody, but I've now got a piece of paper rolled up and popped into my belt.
Alrighty.
What you got there, Shrag?
Magic spell. Huh.
Very cool.
He'll show the piece of paper and roll it and go, hey, see? Spell. And literally you just can't understand a word of it.
Huh. Yes, I see. All right, let's go.
It's weird. It's kind of, I mean, what language is it written in? Or is it a kind of a hybrid of a couple?
It's based off my class ability to be able to transcribe a spell and to scroll daily, but literally it's just unintelligible to anybody else.
Yep. It's
Like
the
doctor
language.
writing is just a mess.
Oh, yeah, it's just scribble. I think that's an I. Maybe that's an H. No, that's a U.
Some happy faces and arrows.
Little fishy swimming across.
Oh, in fact, you might notice a little like sketch of what looks like a snowman with some little stick arms and like some balls flying away from it.
All right.
Alrighty, so, okay. Anything else you guys want to try and accomplish, or is ready to start heading back into the gap?
I just
think
make sure we have a supply of coffee, and I'll make sure we have some potatoes and onions, and maybe some jerky to make some
Okay.
good stuff on the road. Some spices.
Okay. Something better than those hardtack ration packs.
Mm. No sea rats, please. Although sea rats are better than MREs.
Some of those MREs are yummy. Especially if you get the lemon poppy seed bread.
Oh, no.
I remember.
Just
just
go
thinking,
ahead, Steve.
I was just thinking, it's like back when my wife was pregnant with our first kid. That was her craving food, was MREs.
Weird. That's so oddly specific.
Well,
so funny.
I was active duty at the time. I happened to have a case from a couple of field ops, and she just tore through them for her pregnant craving.
That's funny.
At least it
That's
ain't pickles and ice cream or whatever the common joke is.
Cole.
That's so funny.
Oh my. All right.
All right. So
Question from a travel mapping perspective. So,
Mhm.
Town 1, obviously, the Twilight Mansion in the middle, Town 2 on the other end. In terms of location of the portal, if I remember correctly, it was between Town 1 and the mansion, correct?
Actually, it's 2 days to travel through. So
Right,
a day to get to the mansion, and a day to get to the other side. However,
right.
there is another fork and ravine
Hmm.
that it takes you about 5 miles uh, through the pass, and that leads you to where the obelisk that leads you into the portal.
But on Town 1 side, correct?
Uh, it's from the mansion about 5 miles, so it's kind of still kind of in the center of the gap. You're closest to the mansion, not closest to the towns.
Okay. I guess what I was trying to say is to figure out is if we needed to go to the mansion first and then go to the portal, or if we could
Yeah,
go
you'd
to the
have
portal straight from the town.
no, you have to pass the mansion to get to the portal.
Okay, so we'll go to the mansion then and check in with Sir Xandergul. Make sure that during the meal that we take care of Jingle.
Of course, of course, of course. So, traveling through the mansion, traveling through from the town to the mansion, getting into the gap. Go ahead and what is the marching order?
Hmm.
Trying to remember what we did last time.
The last time you were escorting a caravan, so now it's your guys walk.
It's
You're
just the
walking
four
back
of
on
us.
foot. You got your snowshoes strapped in. You've got all of your cold weather gear on because it's chilly and cold and very windy. So it's heavy winds that are kind of gusting through the gap.
Okay.
And
Um,
they're coming. You're actually going to be walking with the wind to the mansion, so it'll be actually fairly decent in that sense. But what is it? What's the marching order?
I don't mind taking the lead unless somebody else wants.
You've got the highest passive perception. I
Okay.
have second highest, so I can take up the back and watch our backs.
Okay. And then
Put up my hood, put on my goggles.
Shrag's probably going to want to be somewhere in the middle, right? And then Obsidian, where do you want to be?
I can be in front of Will.
Okay.
All right.
So it'll be Anarian, Shrag, Obsidian, and Wilhelmina.
Okay.
Shrag's going to look expectantly at Wilhelmina a little bit and just sort of like go, Lenny?
Huh?
Lenny?
Wow. Yes. One moment. Okay, I take one out and poof, snowy owl on my shoulder. And a mastiff comes out. Sorry, I guess Lenny didn't want to, or Larry didn't want to come out today, but you can ride on the mastiff if you want.
I'm going to say, at that point there you realise that he's not too fussed. He's actually like hand measuring the size of the mastiff and then just goes like that. Pick up.
Red. Just punched my computer.
What did it do to you?
Nothing. Sorry.
It didn't give a Lemmy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I guess the computer's fault. The dice said not today.
Yeah, exactly.
Larry is hiding from you. He didn't like to be ridden into battle.
More like abandoned.
Oh, that's true because he dismounted, didn't he?
Dismounted and hid behind it.
Though, so.
That's funny. All right.
All right.
So I will have the owl just kind of circle above us, like maybe 100 feet, and
Okay.
tell him if anything is coming towards us to swoop down and let me know.
Alrighty. Let's see. All right. As traveling through the gap, Anari, since you're, go ahead and give me a D10 roll. Tell me the result.
Oh, you sure?
Sure.
That would
No,
be a
we want to
5.
All right. First leg of the travel through the gap is uneventful, other than the wind.
Little breezy today.
Little breezy, little breezy. Uh, Shag, go ahead and give me a D10 roll.
It is going to be a 9.
All right. Next leg is continued quiet. You're about halfway to the mansion. Obsidian, D10 roll, please. I'm sorry. 10. All right. Again, pretty quiet. Aside from the wind. And bringing up the rear, Wilhelmina.
7.
All right. It's actually fairly quiet the entire way to the mansion. So you guys get to the mansion. It's toward the end of the day. The wind is still kind of blowing through and whatnot, so it's still pretty strong. But the guards greet you with friendly smiles and welcome you in. You come inside. It's about time for dinner, so you're able to kind of stow your stuff in the room that's been kept aside for you. Go and grab a meal, and the night is yours.
Okay, after the meal, I'm going to try to seek out Sir Zandergrul
Okay.
and explain. I'm sure he's aware, but the information we got from Guildmaster Rambergen is that the caravans are still seeing some attacks. Wondering if your men are able to handle those incursions.
They've been able to assist on a few of them, and he has put out requests to have some additional support, considering his numbers are a little lower. The fact that the pass is open is good. It's just the recent storm has delayed some conscripts or volunteers to come out. But he expects that he will have support in the next few, weather permitting, because it is winter.
Of course, always a factor. And Sir Zandergrul, also, we're hearing lots of reports of a flying shadow. Have you or your men observed any indications of what this could potentially be? We are concerned, obviously, but it may be something that our party at some point may need to tackle.
They've heard a couple of reports. The merchants that have been traveling through, and there are a few merchants actually in the mansion. There's a lot more hustle and bustle going on in the mansion, and there have been some reports of a shadow, but people can hardly make out much other than it kind of passes over and is subtle. But they have not actually. There hasn't been any real encounters with it. It's
And
kind
is
of
there-
it's kind of like Bigfoot sightings. Like you hear about it, but you're like,
Not real sure, yeah. And Sir Zandergrul, any idea of the areas where this particular sightings or these particular sightings are centered? Is there an area perhaps that we need to be aware of to watch
he
out for this?
seems the thinking about it, and then he goes and checks a couple of his notes. He's like, they seem to be kind of going from kind of a north south. It's like they'll see the shadow come from the south. And then some reports see it traveling back south, possibly in the direction, and maybe over by where the obelisk is,
So
the
in that
gate
area.
or something in that area. But it's not sure, because they see it seems to always be travel. It's when they do see it, it seems sometimes they'll see it come and go, kind of heading toward that direction.
So as part of my components that I purchased for my spells is going to be some magic ink and parchment and so forth, and I'm going to be trying to sketch out a map to make sure that I got some details, not only of our travels but some of these reports, and try to annotate where those incidents are occurring to try to get an idea of maybe the area that we should possibly search if we decide to go ahead and search for that particular entity.
Thing.
Seems like whatever it is, maybe it's just watching. Everyone has seen it, but nobody so far has been attacked by it. I wonder if it could be watching, like being the eyes for something in the Shadowfell.
It's possible. Certainly possible.
Or maybe it's just a beast that just enjoys tormenting travelers.
And again, the concern being no real reports as of yet of a incident. It's just the shadow that I don't know if it's taunting or just trying to intimidate or scare the travelers, but definitely something I think at some point, maybe not necessarily right away, but at some point we are going to need to address, in my opinion.
Yes. People
Shrag,
need to be confident to travel between the towns.
Shrag will listen to this conversation. It'll turn to you both and he'll go, "Did you close the door?"
Oh, sorry. Jeez.
No. The Shadowfell door. You know, you
Oh.
went in, something came out.
Well, we needed to have a way to get back so that we can get to the fortress and check your shiny books. So we haven't closed it yet, but at some point we definitely will need to do that. But the other side to that too is, I know Shrag, you've been studying those circles to pop around different places. Hopefully you've got a solution to that, and then maybe once we close it, we might still be able to go back to the Shadowfell fortress.
Yeah, he'll at the first comment about having left the door open, he'll sort of like shrug as if to say good idea, but also then like slightly shake his head as if to say, oh no, oh no. But then he'll hold up the book and just go there, sort of point to the sketch of the teleportation circle, so he's got the reference there. Once they actually get back there as well, he's going to head off straight to the library, and then just before we rest for the evening, he'll send a message to Wilhelmina to come see him.
Shrag? Okay.
In the library, he's like in this like big like leather-bound back chair. He just slowly turns around. He's sat there with his hands like this, little pair of spectacles on his nose. Hello.
You look
Big
very
investment.
official.
He sort of peers over the top of his glasses and like, yeah, nice library, eh? Hey, shinies.
Amazing. I love being surrounded by books.
And you'll notice that actually it's a surprise because it's really, really tidy. Because in the fact he's had like, what, 2-3 days there all to himself? It's really, really tidy.
Did you do all this?
Yeah. Me clean it all up. Yeah. Shinies.
Shragnaz invented the Dewey Decimal System. Canon.
It's probably something a little different considering, you know, he's got influence.
Yeah, it's much more chaotic.
What he will do is he'll get the book out and he'll take a couple of sheets of paper out and he'll basically get you to try and sort of effectively put your leg up onto the table and then basically put your arm onto the table and he's going to start sketching it.
Okay, I roll up my sleeve and I actually like turn it in like a little pattern and chunk, take it off and set it on the table. And then I sit down and I pull up my legging. That one takes a little bit more work. I take my leg off, put that on the table.
Awesome. Oh, thank you. And he'll start sketching it and making notes on it. But he will put some into the book, but he will also take a second copy for the shopkeeper.
Alright. Go ahead and give me an intelligence check there, Snagraz.
Okie dokie. It's a 12.
And you've accounted for the book's influence?
Oh, that'll give it an advantage, won't it? So let's roll it again. And that is 17.
Alright. You're able to get pretty good sketch detail of the arm and the leg. A few of the details and the mechanism. Lamina knows because she knows the person who made it, and you know every crafter has some trade secrets. So that's you're able to get a good working understanding of it, but there are definitely some elements that escape you or even the book, and the book kind of gives you a kind of a feeling of impressive, most impressive.
Awesome. He'll Roll the
What?
little scroll.
Do I get the sense that he's like communicating with the book, or does it look like he's just taking notes?
How do you want to handle that one? Nagraz.
You'll notice that he does seem to be muttering to the book, and then sort of cocks his head a little bit as if listening. You don't think it's all the book. I mean, he does seem to sort of have some ideas and talk to it. It's not all just listening, but it's yeah, there's definitely communication going on. You're probably close enough being sat on the other side of the table to actually hear the muttering of like a whispered voice.
I take notice and I don't say anything. I just watch.
Obsidian, what are you doing while everybody is kind of milling about the mansion and whatnot?
Probably with Anarian, figuring out plans for tomorrow.
Yeah, while they're talking, Obsidian and I will get together and compare our notes from the previous experience in the fortress, so that we can pass on that information to Wilhelmina and to Shragnaz, and then kind of discuss, thoughts about what our best tactics would be to get into the area and what may have changed while we've been away and that kind of stuff.
All right. All right. Well, I mean, that's how you spend the evening. Long rest, all those wonderful bonuses. Your temporary hit points, because of course Jingle is so happy that you're back.
Always happy to see Jingle.
How many temporary hit points?
You get 10.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah. Do you try to get to introduce Wilhelmina to Jingle?
Definitely going to introduce her as part of the group so that she gets to know Jingle.
Sometime like late at night, I go and like knock on one of their doors, and I'm like, "Hey, do you think it's quiet enough that Jingle might want to meet me now?"
Take her down to the kitchen and see if I can find some sweets for Jingle, kind of as an enticement to get him to meet Wilhelmina.
Yeah. So you go in there, and after a little bit, you see this kind of little like creature. It's kind of like a large. I would say it's probably like one of those, like a large house cat sized creature, like an elongated nose, and kind of spindly little limbs. And he's just so happy to see Anari. And when Anari gives him the sweet, he's really happy, and he looks over and have a chance, and he's got this really kind of child innocent voice. Oh, friends are back. Friends are back.
I try really hard to contain my like squeal because I don't want to freak him out, and I just like stay back a little bit, and I'm just like, "Hi."
And
I will.
so you get the chance to meet him. He's really nice, and in the morning you get your benefit of the temporary hit points, because he feels you're in good company. Friends are friends.
Can I shake his little tiny hand?
So yeah, he sits there.
All right. So in the morning, gear up and prepare, and we're ready to go. Tackle this fortress and see what we find in the shiny library there, Shrag.
Watch out for shadows, flying shadows.
Big flying shadows.
And we're just gonna walk, right? We're not taking any mounts or anything.
Nope,
Yeah, I don't think so.
You haven't brought any mounts up, so you've been kind of walking.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, and in our Zoom chat, I shared a couple of maps. The first one is the one right around the area of the mansion.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, except for the Mastiff map, but not like draft horses.
Yeah, but he'd be gone by now.
Yeah, I was
Right?
gonna say,
24 hours.
It's only
Yeah.
one day, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
When we walk out, I throw a couple poof balls on the ground, and one of them poofs into just a little tiny rat.
Which is really struggling through the snow. It's like just kind of pop, pop, pop.
I pick him up and I put him on my shoulder, and he just kind of hangs out in my hood.
Yep.
Kind
Kind of nuzzles up on the neck.
he like hides in my super long hair, messes with my giant earring. And the other one turns into a big brown bear. So Teeny is back.
Beanie is back.
Drag?
Shrag's gonna look at you and just go, "Yeah, now that's cool."
You wanna ride?
So now Shag went from riding a boar to a dog to riding a bear.
Yep.
God
He doesn't have to
love
tire out
Shag.
his little tiny legs.
Shag
So
rides.
So you don't want to try riding the rat?
Shrag looks at you, raises an eyebrow, and just goes, "Really?"
So we got Larry the boar, Tiny the bear. What was the mastiff's name?
I'm not sure where my list of names went.
Oh,
Back to you on that.
let's see. Okay, we'll follow up on that.
All I remember is Larry and Teeny.
Oh, Chili, Shaggrass did have mounted combat.
All right.
Hey, where did I put that?
So, have we ready to go? Shall we head out?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So we'll leave from the mansion and head toward the portal.
Abre la puerta. Do we have any idea how to close the door once we're
That's
done?
one of the things we're going to need to be looking for in the library. That's why when Obsidian and Day and I and Barum were in the library the first time, there were a lot of books that were protected by glyphs, which is why we needed you to have your Dispel Magic, Wilhelmina, and Shrag. And there's lots of books that we could not open. And in our initial search, the ones that we could find, we didn't find any information on closing the portal. So that's one of the things that we need to be searching for as a means to close the portal. And then, of course, any other information that we can obtain from this library, not only for Tinkerbell, but for our own knowledge, would be very useful. So that's one of the things that we were hoping you would be able to do with your Dispel Magics, is to get the glyphs out of the way, so that then we can peruse the materials in the library.
Okay. Let's see here. I can do Dispel Magic. If I can find it on my spell list. What level spell is it? 3rd level? Okay.
Yep.
So I can technically do it 5 times. But that would get rid of my ability to do any of my more powerful magics.
Okay. Well, and hopefully in the fortress we've somewhat cleared it out, so hopefully it hasn't been re-inhabited, and we can rest there. At least it's a secured and protected place, so we can rest and recover spells.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
It's
right.
been- it's been roughly a 10 days since
Right.
you've gone back over there.
Kind of what I recalled.
Is the cat one of the local ones that
The
just went off?
puffballs.
This is my Shadowfell kitty, Nutska.
Aw.
She literally is like a little shadow. She just disappears into everything.
Nice. Alrighty.
Wanted to make an appearance. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Now I feel like a proper villain.
10 days, Shad. Just so you're aware.
10 days.
All right. So heading toward the portal.
Yes.
So it's not an additional 10 days. It's been roughly a 10 days since you left the Shadowfell.
Since we were in the Shadowfell.
Okay. Don't be trying to pull one over on me.
No. We wouldn't do that.
No.
Really? Are you sure?
Whose side are you on here anyway?
Shrag
He
side.
doesn't have a side. He doesn't get anything out of this.
True that. All right. So how far is it from the mansion to the portal? You said it was approximately 5 miles.
Yeah, it would be about about 5 to 10 miles. So roughly, so it's not too far.
Okay.
It's just,
So what?
and you have the snowshoes and stuff on, so
Mhm.
it's gonna take you about half a day because of all the snowfall because of the recent storm.
Okay.
So
So we'll head out.
Yep.
And I do druid craft for our trap.
of course,
So helpful.
it is. It really is.
I wish I had that in real life, because my app is never correct.
Well, this is only correct unless someone throws some magical weather thing out there. So
We've never seen that happen, though. I don't know what you're talking about.
Alrighty, so temperatures are normal for this time of year. Again, there is a strong wind that is blowing, and a light snowfall for the day.
relayed.
Nice wintry
Noted.
weather. It's nice wintry weather in the Arctic.
Not too bad.
So taking full advantage of only being 3 foot and sat in the back of a nice big bear, Shrag's going to be wrapped up in his winter clothes, and he's going to be laid there on his back, hands behind his head, so leaning back on the bed, so sticking his tongue out, catching snowflakes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
is the-
Give me an acrobatics check.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Roll one, fall off the bear.
He's gonna fall off the bear. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Nat 1 coming up.
Was that acrobatics, you say?
Yes, I believe that's the deck space.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
it
cool.
is.
That's a +7, so that's going to be a 21.
So, as Tiny is kind of traipsing through, and every so often kind of hops a little bit because of the snow, you jostle, but surprisingly enough, for the rest of you seeing, he's just kind of eyes closed, just kind of sitting there.
Oh.
The bear's like,
And as for the group, I'm assuming that we're going to go ahead and use that marching order that we established. Is that
Unless you want to do something different.
everybody's okay with that?
yep,
Do you want to establish that as our standard marching order?
yep.
Sounds good.
Works.
Okay, so now you know what it's going to be.
All the
Bear and
time.
Shrag in the middle.
Alrighty, so Anari, go ahead and give me your D10 roll, please.
D10 coming up.
D10.
That will be a 2.
Alright, it's fairly quiet. And next up would be, well, Shag is kind of distracted, so Will, go ahead and give me a D10 roll.
Nine.
Alrighty. Oddly enough, you seem to be picking great days to be traveling. You get up to the obelisk, and for Snagraz and Wilhelmina, this is the first time seeing this obelisk. For Obsidian and Anari, they've seen this before. It is a large stone, kind of a stone obelisk that looks like it was partially partially uncovered, but it was buried for a while. It's kind of this dark stone. And go ahead and for you two, go ahead and roll Arcana checks as you come up on it.
And while they're looking at it, I'll literally just walk right up to it and touch it.
Poof, gone.
And I'll explain quickly to Wilhelmina and Shragnaz how the portal operates so that we can transport over to the other side. And then I'll go ahead and let them go before I go through, just to make sure that everybody passes safely.
If the bear touches it, will just he disappear?
Yes.
The bear goes up and boop.
Snagraz, you're sitting there, and all of a sudden, what you're sitting on disappears.
Which explains, I'm taking it I wouldn't get the advantage on this one, so I just rolled the straight up Arcana, and he doesn't notice anything because at the moment he's actually about like a foot under the snow. I rolled a natural one.
Oh.
It's fine. It's the snow.
I go, oh,
Sure,
oh,
blame it on the weather.
I'm sorry, and I pick him up out of the snow. I thought you would both. I'm sorry. I rolled a 12.
All right. You can feel the magic that kind of emanates from this thing, but some of the details of it are kind of escape you. But you can definitely feel the magic as you go up, and you go up and touch it, just like you saw obsidian and what Anari suggested.
I'm a little hesitant, but at the same time, I already have a friend and a bear that have gone through, and I don't want them to be by themselves. All right.
I'm sorry, I'm picturing the first episode of SG1 where you're Carter poking her finger at the portal and Anari's behind just about to go, push!
Push. Yep, you got it. That's exactly the image. The only question I have, what happened to that poor rat?
Yeah, I was going to say, I take the rat out and I make it so that we both touch it at the same time.
Oof.
And on the other side, I'm like, ooh, okay. We're good.
Snagras, are you touching it or about to touch it?
Well, given the fact I've rolled a natural one and I'm not really been paying attention, everybody seems to have been disappeared. I'm gonna guess they've gone through. So he's gonna just.
Well,
pause
Anari
there.
is technically still standing there.
I'm still behind you.
He just kind of, as Wilhelmina was kind of tentatively going to touch it, he just kind of push where she touched it and then poofed in. So that's why she had to kind of regain her balance because she was a little caught off guard.
Shrad's feeling a little bit reckless after having fallen in the snow. He just shrugs, takes a run at it, and just cannonballs through it.
Head down like a toddler.
So, Obsidian, of course, bamps into the Shadowfell. Kind of, what do you do once you reappear on the Shadowfells?
Obviously, take a look around, make sure nothing's in our area as people are getting ready to come through.
All right.
Make sure nothing looks different or weird from when we left it 10 days ago.
Okay. And after a little bit, you hear kind of a whoa as Wilhelmina comes through behind. So, Wilhelmina, as you take your first glance at everything, you see this place is kind of a dark, shadowy, you think being outside at midnight is kind of rough. This place is just, it feels more foreboding. And it's like
that darkness that you can feel.
Yeah, and it's like midnight all the time, even though outside it was whatnot. So, and there's a light snowfall and a breeze that's blowing through.
The bear gives like a worried grunt.
Yep. And as you're kind of taking it in, all of a sudden, the portal opens. The portal kind of opens again, and Cannonball Snagras kind of comes through and hits and rolls on the ground a bit.
I just pick him up and put him back on the bed.
I was gonna say I wanted to know if he was gonna do the tumble roll and then ta-da.
I was trying to get to that. So he's out, roll. Go ahead and give me another acrobatics check for your landing. You had no idea what was on the other side.
I was about to land a natural 20, but it landed on the 8. That's 15.
So yeah, he comes in, rolls, stands up, and then now you get to take in that sight of darkness, gray. And
Like
then,
home?
and last but not least, Sonara just kind of walks up, comes in, and you see everybody's kind of assessing what they're doing. And
Just as I'll pass along, we've shared the information, but I'll pass along again to those that haven't experienced it, that we can move much more stealthily here, those of us that have that ability.
And I
we
cast
move more
Pass without
quickly.
trace.
nice.
The glowing crystal that is my holy symbol, I notice is very bright here, and I just tuck it into my cloak, so it's not just like a...
Actually, it's not.
Oh.
Because the Shadowfell is just kind of a perpetual, everything is muted. So what things are used to being bright on the prime material plane, in the Shadowfell, everything is a muted kind of color. That's because it's just that oppression of darkness and death that is pervasive throughout the Shadowfell.
Okay, then in that case, seeing that my glowing crystal that's usually bright is dull, I get a little worried and I grasp it and close my eyes for a second and try to contact my connection with Dol Ara and see if she feels far away.
You get a slight tingle of warmth through your body to let you know that she's still there,
Okay.
but it is a little distant. But she's still you still have the feeling that she's with you.
This is a strange place. Do we see any structures or anything off in the distance?
Yes, roughly about 5 miles or so, 5 to 10 miles down. You do see that as Inari and Obsidian are
Point
kind of
out.
already heading in that direction. There's a crumbling fortress that is your destination. Um, you had you're not sub. You don't have any. You don't have any rogue in you, right?
No.
Okay. Um, but regardless of that, you do know as you start to head in there, you feel like this is going faster. Travel through the Shadowfell is a much faster pace than in the Prime Material. So, in what would the amount of time it would take you to walk a mile, you walk 2 miles in the Shadowfell.
Is it just me, or is that building getting closer a lot faster?
No, that's one of the effects of being here in the Shadowfell. That was what I was trying to explain earlier. You move much more quickly, much more stealthily for the most part. If you have any type of stealth abilities, and with our Pass Without Trace, I'm sure that's aiding.
Is there snow here?
Not really.
No.
I mean, it looks like it's snowing, but it's not the same degree as you would see on the other side. I mean, you see forests. There's stars. There's clouds. It kind of looks like it did on the material plane, like a kind of just a darker version of it. But the trees are all kind of wilted and don't really have a lot of growth to them.
So it's like the same landscape as it was in the other place, but just like a dark version?
Like a dead version almost.
Weird. Cool.
I'm going to be mindful of watching for that tall, daunting figure that we saw last time to make sure that we're not going to be anywhere near any of that.
Would like everyone to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Well, and we're within 5 feet. Who's within 5 feet of me? Because we haven't done anything about the ring. And then who's within 10 feet of Anarian?
Right.
So that would be based on your marching order, if you how close you guys are to each other. But that would probably put you all within 2 area effects, because you're about midway through, and then Nari's at the front. So
So I was gonna say, if we put Obsidian in the middle, his 5 should cover the 2, and then if I'm in the front, my
Because what I'll do is I'll
10
step
should
up
cover.
and walk
Okay.
next to the bear and
All right.
kind of close in
Get
a little
everybody-
bit.
We
Okay.
want to make sure everybody's within those auras.
So
You can add +3 for me.
And you'll add
'Cause I have a
+3
ring.
from me.
Yeah.
So
you
basically, you
get
get a +6 to your wisdom to your saving rolls if you're within 5 to 10 feet of both of them.
So
That's
28 for me.
26 for Shrag.
Kadoki?
And that was wisdom, correct?
Yes.
That would be a 20 for me. Dirty.
I turned a 7 into a 21. That's amazing. Thank you, guys.
All
I
right.
can't just
So
go out. Give me 1 second.
we were about to go to a break anyway, but this is probably a really good time. I'll just sit there and finish off by saying, you don't suffer the you look at the place, but the oppression, the oppressive like despair that would come from just seeing this kind of lifeless landscape doesn't really affect you too much. So you're able to move through fairly well. And since it's about 11:30 or so, we'll go ahead and take our break. answer some questions, grab some more coffee, scones, whatever, and we'll come back in probably about 10 minutes, give or take.
Okie dokie.
So,
Awesome.
Sounds good.
eat,
Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody in the chat.
take a look at some questions. Will you guys go take a break? What do we got? Over to there.
So where is that art? Because I just heard that we have fan art, which blows my mind.
Well, if you're over on the Scuba Studio Discord,
Yeah.
scroll down to the crafting related category.
Uh-huh.
There's a channel called painting.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
And that is our first batch of fan art.
Oh my gosh, these are amazing.
So,
I love it. Mayflower.
yep.
Oh my gosh.
That is awesome.
That makes my heart happy.
So yeah, feel free to, people want to make fan art and whatever, and drop it in there. You're more than welcome. Minis, all that kind of stuff. Needs to be a thing for the D&D groups, is to have like a mini a thing to share your art and what crafting you do.
Mayflower, you're the best.
It is totally awesome, sir.
You and your friend are the best.
Very, very cool.
Alrighty.
All right.
Except the fan art that I didn't have to pay for.
Hence the fan.
I got a character art submission, but that's not, commission that I had to pay a lot of money for. That was not it. This is way more fun.
Yeah, I don't think I've had I remember way back when I did one of those things. I like the I think it was Astro World in Texas. Sat down and had the little character thing done, and it was I think it's still around here somewhere. It's been so long. It's been sitting in a dark corner for years.
The Shadowfell of the house.
Something like that, considering it was back when I was real big into laser tag.
Oh,
So
like
it's a character of me with laser tag and my my moniker in high school. But just to recap, because I found my description I had. Shadowfell certainly lives up to its name. It is not much brighter here than during twilight hours of the Promaterial Plane. There's a thick haze that floats in the air, dulling all colors to drab mixtures of grays and browns. The ground beneath your feet looks like dark gray soil. Indeed, a few dull-colored plants and weeds wave gently in the air here and there, despite the lack of a breeze. The earth feels strange, however, as if it were made of something more like flesh than dirt. Looking up and around, you can make out one or two twisted trees and other forests in the distance of similar types through the haze, and what looks like the edge of a forest to your left. Beyond the forest are darker shapes that may be a mountain range or just more shadows. The ground ahead slopes upward toward another large dark shape, apparently a stunt tower of some sort. This is the fortress that Obsidian and Inari are familiar with, but for
That's where we're going.
Nagraz and Wilhelmina being your first time seeing this, you hear howls like a wolf, but a little alien at the same time in the distance. There's also like a sound of breathing on the air, but you don't see anything.
Sound of breathing?
Yep, and every so often you hear what could be ravens distance.
That's disturbing.
Okay.
Wilhelmina, go ahead and give me a religion check since you're a cleric.
Yes, I am. Sorry. Yeah, just rolling crazy good today. I haven't rolled under a 10 yet. Of course, now I'm going to roll a natural 1 on the next one.
You just jinxed yourself.
I know, right? Religion, that's a 12. That's not terrible.
It's not terrible. With that, you are kind of familiar with the Shadowfell. and probably slightly familiar with with the patron that typically resides here, and that would be those who worship the raven.
Got it. Yes, I probably have come across, well, I don't know, maybe not Raven Queen clerics. Probably not, but I've heard about them. My mentor told me about them. Because actually, I am a grave cleric, which is unusual for Dol Ara, but I probably would have heard about the grave
You are
clerics.
familiar. You are familiar with the Raven Queen, and but not a whole lot more of the particulars of who here. But the Shadowfell is typically one of the Raven Queen's domain.
Okay.
And taking a quick moment to give a shout out to Quillith123 for the 4-month sub,
What?
and for the gifted sub.
Oh,
so thank you, sir.
you.
Support is always appreciated.
Thank you, Q.
Thank you so much.
All right. So making your way into the fortress.
For the Scoob.
So as we walk in, I point to the first door on the right and tell people not to open that door.
Now I want to open it.
No. That's
Don't
the rat
open it.
door.
Give
You don't
me a
wanna open
perception
that door.
check, Wilhelmina.
The rat door. There we go. There it is. That's a 3. Hang on. So that is an 8.
If she goes to open it, I go and
Yeah, you go to stop her, but she doesn't hear anything. You know what's behind the door, so I'm not going to make you do anything. But she has no idea, so it's up to you. She's like,
there
I don't
there
hear
are
anything.
hundreds
Why?
of rats in there.
Oh. Well, I've got this one. That's enough. I don't need any more. Swarms of rats are never a good thing.
Yes, which is why we don't open that door.
Okay, got it. Good to know. Thank you. Thank you very much. So this is it, huh? Looks like
Not
nobody's
quite.
been
So
here in a long time.
We want to go
head to the staircase and head down.
head down to the library.
Okay. Have you guys gone up? Is there anything up there that's
Yeah, we had a couple specters we had to deal with up, so we don't go
good.
up.
Good specters. That's always fun. All right. Let's find this library. I look at Shrag. You ready?
Oh yeah. He's like rubbing his hands in glee. Like, yeah, shinies.
The bear's fat butt just barely fit through the door.
Scoob, I'll go ahead and draw my swords just in case anything has repopulated the area that we had cleared.
Yeah, and I would suggest that we still move cautiously, even though we did somewhat clear the area.
Yes, because there are quite a few rooms in here you never explored. But
Correct.
Exactly.
the attempt is to go straight to the library. That's actually pretty quick.
Yep. So we're going to go straight through those first 2 doorways, hang a right, and the first door on the left is where we'll stop and listen.
Can I ritually? Do I have that? Ritually
like that?
casting detect magic.
You can, but it's only got a range of 30 feet?
Yeah, I just want to ritually cast it when we're in the lobby and just kind of have it up. So in case anything is within 30 feet of us, I'd have a better chance of seeing it.
Sounds good.
Well, doesn't it take 10 minutes to cast it ritually?
Mhm.
Yes.
Because it'll only take us, 2 to get to the library?
Well, then by the time we get to the library, I'll only have 8 more minutes left.
And then we're gonna listen at the door, check very carefully, make sure nothing's been disturbed
All right,
since we
so
were last there.
you descend the stairwell, go through the first door. You have this kind of large open room and a door across the hall. You go through that.
Mhm.
And the first door that leads to a hallway, that's the one you stop and you listen at?
Well, we stop and
Where
listen there, and then
there's one on as you're coming down, it'd be on the right side.
Right, I remember that one.
And then further down, there's a door at the end of the hall, and then a door on the left side.
The left
we
side was
haven't
the
gone
library.
into those doors.
Yeah,
And
we haven't
you're
checked
talking
those
about
other
that
rooms.
first hallway still, right, Scoob?
Yep.
So we haven't gone down there yet. We took the first right. We have not been down there yet. So
Should we check it out?
I think we better focus on the library right now first. and then we'll clear out the rest of it later.
Okay.
Obsidian and I have a plan for how we're tackling the library, and we used it successfully the last time, so I think it should stand us in good stead again.
Do you want me to cast any light in here, or?
Does anyone not have dark vision? Oops.
Well, you have these, and I pull my goggles of night down over my eyeballs.
Yep.
There we go.
So
Perfect.
as descending it's coming into the fortress. It's dark, and I mean there's not a whole lot of light. So as you kind of put those on, then all of a sudden everything kind of illuminates with the vision, with the goggles, and now you
I
can
don't know why I
kind of
didn't do
see.
this sooner. Okay.
So,
Do we hear anything at the library door, or at the door on the first door on the right, as we made that turn into that corridor?
turned into the corridor, first door on the right. Give me a perception check.
Sure. I think we did check that one. I think it was the one farther down that we didn't. I got a 27.
You're not
Because
hearing.
I only got a 13.
Yeah, and you're not hearing anything in that doorway.
Okay.
If you go ahead and open it, you see it's a storeroom that had stuff, had like food and whatnot in it, but all of it has rotted long ago.
Okay. So that was
It's
the first
rotted
door
to the
on
point you
right.
don't even smell it. It's been that long.
Is there anything in there besides food?
Some old tattered cloth again that's kind of rotted away. Nothing of it really.
Nothing of use or value. Then I think our next step would be to listen at the library door, and again, be cautious about entering before we put ourselves in that space.
All right. Go into the first door in the library. You kind of listen in on the door. Who's doing the listening? Go ahead and give me another perception.
That is going to be a 26.
It's again kind of quiet. You open the door. You see the next. You remember there's another door that's shortly past that. It's kind of like
it's a double.
little ante room before you enter the library proper. Go in to listen to that one. That one seems fine. Opening it in, and you guys kind of step in, and for the benefit, yes, Obsidian.
So when we go into that second door, I close the first door that leads into the hallway and stick a movable rod up against it and against the ground, or
Yep.
right.
So you,
that
you essentially
nothing,
bar
So that
the
the door-
door. Nobody.
Yep.
Okay. Now the room is secure. There's nothing that is going to get in that won't try to break the door, or unless it just doesn't need the door to get in.
Yeah, and that,
Right.
and then we'll explain to Shrag and Wilhelmina, this is our tactic for securing anytime we need some secured space.
That is a nifty item. And I like pull on it and like push all my weight on it. Like, wow, this really doesn't move.
Nope. Not even a little. They go in. They
Hit the
kind of
little
put it in
button.
there.
I hit the button.
Don't put the button.
And now the rod. And are you holding the rod, or do you just push the button?
I
Just
just
push.
the button.
As soon as you push the
Gonna
button, the
fall
rod
to the
drops
floor.
and clangs on the ground.
So I'll pick it back up and reactivate it against the door again.
That's cool. I won't push the button.
All right. So we're gonna again with our new companions. Let's check the main library area to see if there's any books of interest that we may find or that they may find of interest, and then Obsidian,
Actually,
if you want to
no.
guide them back to the secret room area.
Well, let's
Well,
first,
so
since
before
the two
we
of
get
them,
to the books, I want to make sure nothing is in the secret room area to make sure we are secured.
Works
so
for me.
going
Then we
into
don't
the
get
first part of the
surprised.
library for Snagraz's and Wilhelmina's benefit. See, hundreds of books fill the shelves throughout the room, both against the walls and in several freestanding cases. The book's subject matter varies wildly. So, most discuss magic in the inner planes. There's a lot of books on the Shadowfell. There are books about the prime material. Most for Shagraz, and Wilhelmina, given your whatnot, you would know that these things would be of high value to academics in a lot of places. Some of them look fairly good in good conditions. Some of them look kind of weathered and old. This is a kind of a mix, but this is just like huge library of books, hundreds and hundreds of tomes of various sizes and thicknesses throughout the space.
If anybody looks at Shragnows at this moment in time, he's like vibrating. You're not quite sure if he's shaking in fear or excitement.
You okay, friend?
Last time I had stuff like this, things happened.
That's actually a fair statement.
Mistakes were made. Things happened.
Good things or bad things?
Good things? Holds up the book. Looks around the rest of the party. Bad things?
A little bit of both. Okay. Well, don't worry. We got your back. You're okay.
All right. So,
I would like to just kind of walk along the shelves of the books and just kind of like run my hand on them, take a deep breath of the smell of the old stale books because that's such a good smell.
as you walk through, the room is kind of a wide L shape. So if you just to kind of walk you through the room as you come in the door, if you turn to the right, you've got roughly about 5 to 8 5 foot space on either side are bookcases. As you get to the end and turn right again, you see the center cases wrap around for another little hallway of books, and then it also kind of goes down another 50 feet of just bookcases along the side, and the wall turns again. You loop around, and again it's like 50 feet wide by 50 feet tall as far as the room, and it's kind of this L shape with just 2 sets of freestanding bookcases in the middle, making another couple of hallways. So, and of course the walls are completely lined. There's no windows. There's nothing because you're underground. Just all books, and it's roughly about a 10-foot ceiling. So floor to ceiling all the way down, just to kind of give you an idea how many books are in there.
I want to go to the section that's like about the Shadowfell. And I want to see if I can find a book that's of like creatures of the Shadowfell.
Go ahead and an investigation check.
Shouldn't have said anything about my dice rolls. That is a 9.
First section you're looking at, you're not really finding anything on that.
Hey, Shrek, keep an eye out for creatures of the Shadowfell, because you might be able to learn something about the flying shadow. And also, these books might be a way to offset the cost of our displacer cloaks, because that artificer woman said she wanted knowledge. Well, there's much knowledge here.
On that note, Anari and Obsidian, what do you do as you come in? I think Obsidian, you were saying you wanted to check something?
Yeah, I'm heading right down to where we know that secret passage is, just to make sure no one or nothing is in there, to ensure we do have a secured area to work in.
All right. Snagraz, go ahead, Anari.
No, I just also want to double check and see if there's any signs that anybody has come in here since we were last there as well. Make sure that nothing has been removed or displaced from what we remember.
All right, Anari, you give me an investigation check. Wilhelmina and Snagraz give me perception checks.
Seven.
Okay.
Investigation.
Yeah, that's how we were rolling when we were in here, which is why we couldn't find any book we needed.
Yeah. Investigation is going to be a 17.
You don't see any sign that you see you see plenty of footprints along the dust, but none. 1 or 2 sets seem different than when you were in last time. But there doesn't appear to be anyone else in at this time.
So the new footprints, do they go into the secret room space?
No.
Or just in the library proper?
Just in the library proper.
Okay.
We'll say for the sake of brevity, you shut the door on your way out.
Yeah.
Snagraz, what was your perception?
I'm still vibrating looking at the books. I got a 4.
Yeah, you guys don't notice Obsidian kind of look at you, kind of shrug, and then walk over, go up to a bookcase, click a little button, and open it, and then step into another room. You're just all focused on what you're seeing. And
We don't notice him go. Oh crap!
No, you don't.
So, Steve, just as we were walking through, obviously you said that there's an awful lot of books and it's probably going to be too much to take them all in, but you mentioned obviously them being higher value. Shrag's going to take a piece of paper and just going to tear little bits up, and as he's walking past what looks like might be really key, good quality books that might be worth coming back to, he's going to shove like a little slip of paper into the bookcase as he goes past them.
Okay. Unless you're going to want to try and take the time to catalog everything.
One of the things that I was going to ask is the titles that seem of interest or that would be useful. We have our bags of holding, so we can start grabbing those books to take along with us.
In reality, are we going to have room to carry all of those books based on a volume rather than a weight?
Oh God, no.
We won't have everything, but we
this
can
would be several tons.
Yeah, we won't have everything, but we can make several trips. But for right now, we can take ones that would be the higher value targets, so to speak.
The ones in better shape and the big thick ones.
And then we of course want to leave room for the ones that are in the secret room. So we want to evaluate first what we find, and then take the ones that are most useful.
So Shrag will gesture to you, then an area, and sort of go, magic? Any of these magic?
And then I'll point to the secret room and show them where Obsidian disappeared.
So,
detect magic seen anything yet? Out in the area?
As you move toward the the bottom section of the library where it's narrowest, you do start to get kind of a sensation, but you actually don't see anything magical in the library at this point. But there's a sense there's magic nearby.
And then, do I get the sense that that's from the hidden area or maybe something else?
Give me a perception check. Another chance to see if you see.
Come on.
Obsidian, go and give me a perception because you wanted to check for activity.
26.
Everything's quiet.
24.
This time you notice that your first scan as you walked through, there just bookcases lining on the second pass. You notice that one of the bookcases is open, and as you look around, you see Obsidian standing by a door, kind of pointing to it. And this is where you're kind of getting that strong sense. And as soon as you open the door, the entire room lights up in your eyes. I mean,
look into the light.
I'm blinded.
Yeah.
Blinded
And
by the light.
And I obviously look at him and go, be very, very careful what you touch in here. There are a lot of booby traps. We counted at least 10 or 12 or 15 booby traps in here when we were here last time.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine
don't pick stuff
very obvious for me.
All right. In this library, this is a much smaller library, and there are cabinets everywhere, and all of the books and scrolls are kept behind these cabinets. So everything in here has some type of magical property.
Cool. I'm just looking around, not touching anything, just trying to take it all in. This is incredible.
This is why we brought you along with the Dispel magic spells, and why we prepared you for this particular endeavor.
I call Shrag over and I start pointing out where I see the magic glowing. So there's definitely more glyphs here than we can dispel. So we need to prioritize.
How many glyphs are on cabinets versus how many glyphs are protecting individual books and scrolls?
Most of the cabinets all have some type of glyph on them. So Presumably, it's get through that, and then there might be a few of the scrolls behind the cabinets that would have an additional glyph on it.
And how many cabinets were in the room?
Roughly 24.
Wow.
Based on our investigations last time, I don't recall what we had determined were the more protected of the cabinets. Is there any way to identify that?
I would say it's probably going to be an investigation. No, it's just for the sake of most everything in here is protected. The fact that this library is compare the amount of books that are out in the other one. This one, everything in here is of significant value, so everything in here is protected.
Just trying to prioritize, so trying to get a feel for where we would want to start.
So with these books that are protected on the cabinets and stuff, can we at least see the spines of the books? Can we sort of see writing and titles on them, or are they all fairly blank?
You can see a few, and some of them are of different quality. Like some of them are definitely old. Some of them look like they're newer, but given what Obsidian and Inari have told you of this place, that seems a little weird too, considering it's been like a couple hundred years. This place is been a few hundred years abandoned, and some of these books don't look like a few hundred years have passed. Other books, you could definitely tell a few hundred, maybe close to 1,000 years have passed.
I don't know if I'm more interested in the newer ones or the older ones.
Well, Shrag will speak up and so basically, magic innate in book, if kept alive. Book live, book better.
Depends. Do you want to consult your book? Remember, your book has quite a bit of information.
Yeah, let's whip out the book. The book. So I'm going to get out and sort of I'll write a question in of sort of, you seeing this? Where do we start? You feel this?
Go ahead and give me an Arcana check. Or yeah, give me an intelligence check with the book's ability. Advantage.
Cool. That's going to be a dirty 20.
Alrighty. As you kind of write in there the description of what you're seeing, because the book can't tell visual, so it's relying on the input you give it.
Yep.
After a little while of scrolling that in there, it kind of replies back with some information that the Shadowfell things in the Shadowfell have different properties than the Prime Material, and the Prime Material has the two planes have different effects on things. Some of those newer books might be, and as you ask that question, it's possible that a book could be maintained with magic, but also a book that was made in the Shadowfell would have different properties because it's native plane.
So it would age differently anyway. Okay. I'll relay it to the guys of they're probably all going to be as important to each other, and it might be some written here and some not, hence the aging of it. So it's not really going to give us necessarily a steer on which is a more powerful book, but it could be that the ones written here might be of immediate more interest rather than ones written elsewhere.
Well, then maybe we should go for one of the ones that looks like it was made here.
Yep.
So before they do any kind of dispel magic, I'm going to step out. There's no sense in all of us being in here if something goes wrong. Plus, I have a spare the dying cantrip, so if something does go wrong, and I have cure wounds, I have the ability to help out. So I'm going to step around the corner a bit.
Okay.
I was gonna say, just to give, since they're the ones that have the knowledge and so forth, if Obsidian's going to step around the corner, I'll go ahead and step into the anteroom there.
Okay.
That's before the secret room, and leave the two of them in the secret room.
Okay.
Cool. So Shragnas and we'll probably just get our heads together and we'll just come up with, we'll look generally round and we'll come up between us with one that looks like the most interesting cabinet to start on.
Okay.
Are there categories or labels on any of these so we could see the general subject matter?
Because you see some of the indications of the various different schools of magic, a lot of necromancy related stuff. There are some ones, depending on the languages. What language do you speak?
Common. What did we decide? Because I could never find a place to put the added proficiencies.
Oh, yeah, that's over on, as you're looking at the sheet where it says skills and proficiencies, there's a little cog that you can click and then you can add additional language proficient.
Okay.
And one of
common,
the other things I'm going to...
Hang on.
Sorry, go ahead.
Common, Draconic, and Dwarvish, and then whatever was associated with my mentors, which I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
We'll double check. Draconic was definitely one because one was a lizard
Yeah,
folk, and then
I
the
think
other
one
one
of them
was
was
a
giant.
furbog. Yeah, giant. You would. So whatever the languages lizard folk and furbogs know, you would know those, plus those of your race.
Okay, so Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, and Giant, I think is
Okay.
my languages.
Okay. Obsidian?
I'm going to stick my head back around the corner and yell down the hallway. We also are looking for a book on how to close the portal. So
Let's
please be on the
start with
lookout
that.
for that.
Yes, we should start with that.
And then I go back around the corner.
All right.
Which sense would dictate that might be more of a book that's actually been written here. So again, we maybe focus on those.
Okay.
At least to start. Yeah.
Snagraz, what languages do you speak?
Over and above what Will speaks, just Goblin to add to that one.
Okay.
I have some other languages as well if they think it may be helpful.
What languages do you speak?
Abyssal, Common, Draconic, Druidic, Dwarvish, and of course Thieves' Cant.
Jeez.
Alrighty. Anari, what languages do you speak?
Common, Elvish, Sylvan, and Thieves' Cant.
We know so many languages.
Wilhelmina, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
I believe that's a 24 again.
All right. Some of the titles are kind of a different dialect of Draconic, like kind of old Draconic, because again, most magic tends to have some type of Draconic back end to it because of the stuff. So you do come across a couple of them. They're a little hard to make out, but you do see a case that seems to have a couple of books in there that talk about teleportation and planar travel.
Okay. I think maybe one of these would have something about that portal. It's hard to tell, but it looks like it has something to do with teleportation, travel between planes. Should we start with one of these?
Yeah, because if we can potentially set up a direct teleportation link between the room and back at the other library, we can close the portal to Shadowfell and have our own quick transport between the two.
Shrag, can you teleport between planes? Does your teleportation circle work like that?
Start scribbling away.
Ask the book.
I shall get my notes out and I will have a quick check on whether that's potentially possible. And an Arcana for that check, Scoob.
Go ahead.
That will be an 18.
All right. And that's with the book's assistance, right?
Yes, yeah, that's with the advance. Yeah.
Okay. Remind me again what the question was. I was looking up something.
So with the notes that I found in the library and the finishing of the teleportation circle, do I believe that if I recreated an equivalent circle here that we could teleport between that and the other realm?
Yes. And given the also taking into account the information, because I'm pretty sure that over your travel, Obsidian and Anari would have told you at length about their adventure here in preparation. So there is a room that has several of these partial teleportation circles in there. So,
okay,
with the knowledge you've been amassing, you're pretty confident that you can build a connection point.
Awesome.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, should I just go for it and try dispelling one of these?
Go for it.
All right, I pick one of those that I can kind of read and cast Dispel Magic.
Alrighty. Go ahead and read off Dispel Magic for those who are unfamiliar with it.
Okie dokie. It is a 3rd level spell. Choose one creature, object, or magical effect within range, which is 120 feet. Any spell of 3rd or lower on the target ends, and I have to make a roll for anything of 4th or higher.
Yep. You focus on this particular cabinet to dispel the glyph, and that one kind of shines a little bright, and then fades, and the glyph kind of fades away.
Do I feel like confident to open the cabinet?
Confident to open the cabinet?
I'm gonna like check around it and make sure there's no physical traps that I can see.
Okay.
Shrag at this point will stop her and just put a little hand up, and he'll whip out the wand, and he's going to summon an unseen servant.
Impressive.
Most excellent.
So they'll back up a little bit, and he'll get that little sort of like dust cloud of like sort of a humanoid shape just to move down and get it to open the cabinet instead.
I back up.
Back up. The unseen servant comes up, opens the cabinet, and nothing happens.
Whew. This is really nerve-wracking.
Alrighty.
Ha! We got many more to go yet. This is going to be fun.
So now that the cabinet is dispelled, is it like a bunch of books in there that we can grab, or is there more glyphs in there that we need to dispel?
This one doesn't have any scrolls with little glyphs on it. This one is just a couple of thick volumes, like thick volumes.
Oh, combat man. Okay, I will.
You know those like those old Webster dictionaries you'd find at the library that's like obscenely huge, just kind of. Yeah,
It
this
weighs
is
like as much as Shrag.
yeah. This is one of those big like 50-pound tomes that talks about the planes and travel and whatnot, and then another one a little bit shorter but a little bit thinner that talks that's kind of a journal along with the other one. So
Shrag, do you have a bag of holding?
No.
Hey,
What-
Inari.
I'll walk in.
Inari.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm in the little
Good.
anteroom, so I'll go ahead and come in and put them in the bag of holding.
Thank you. I am not very strong, so my arms are like shaking as I'm trying to put the book in there.
I'll pick them up for her. I don't have a problem with that.
all right. So
And she lifts-
there is also a little desk in this room that you could set the book on and kind of peruse.
And that's what I was gonna say. Do we want to start putting them away before we've checked on them and see which ones we want to take, or shouldn't we kind of look through them first and decide which ones are the ones that we want to take out of this place?
Yes, if we probably do a group, so if we work through the dispelling magic first, get a batch of them to work through,
Yep.
we can then be working through that while we're taking shifts to basically rest up. And that way, as you say, we can triage which ones off we take. Because again, depending if there's some bad ones in here, I mean, I'd have thought we're probably going to concentrate on focusing on this lot first before we start on the other books.
Yeah, and
How many
especially if the shadow books may not operate the same way on the material plane, we wouldn't want to leave them, or we wouldn't want to take them out of the Shadowfell if that's the case.
Yeah, because again, if what we've picked up from earlier on, if a 1,000-year-old book looks rough in here, but it's a dark one from here that looks fine, if we remove it from the Shadowfell, it might just instantly age and just fall to pieces.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Is there any way we can like know
Take a
if
copy.
we take a book out of the Shadowfell, if it'll lose its power, or
Give me an Arcana check.
automatically just disintegrate? 12.
Not 100% sure what'll happen.
All right.
Shrag, why don't you ask your book?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the book's liking me today. That will be a 22.
The book does let you know that anything here brought to the prime material will probably fade away fairly expeditiously, especially if it's in sunlight.
Anything or just the Shadowfell books?
The Shadowfell books.
Okay.
So any book that was created by materials in the Shadowfell, once you take it to the prime material, it will start to kind of fade away because it's not in the same atmosphere, so to speak. And if it's exposed to sunlight, it will expedite the problem.
So we definitely don't want to take the Shadowfell books out of here. We need to keep them here.
Yeah, which would make sense.
How much paper do you have? Could you make a copy of some of these if we think Tinkerbell may benefit from a book from the Shadowfell?
Yeah, I mean, there's pages in the spell book. I've got some extra paper with me as well. I'm sure there's probably spare paper here as well we can pinch from the desk and stuff. I mean, if we can find an area where there's actually a teleportation circle, it might be worthwhile setting like a protected enclave where if we've got the circle inside the room, is we try and permanently bar the door. So we can have almost like a teleportation, move the books from the library into the room with the teleportation circle, seal the room, and then we can have a direct link between the other library and here, and just keep the Shadowfell books in that one room and just pile them all together.
Yeah.
We can absolutely do that because the room where the glyphs are on the floor only has one door in.
Brilliant. Yeah. So we can somehow permanently seal that, have a nice secure room, and then just keep them here as almost like a secondary library for ourselves.
And that's what I was thinking. With the information, Stragnaz, that you've gotten from your studies of the mage's teleportation and so forth, are you able to recreate teleportation circles?
Yeah, I think from having completed the other one and having an understanding of it from what the book's shown me, if it follows the same path, as it were, I suppose, and it's not different for being in the Shadow Realm, we should be able to do it.
So then maybe we'd want to create a teleportation circle here in this secret part of the library, and link that up then to the mansion area that we would want to be able to move
entrance
to and from.
That the secret entrance that leads in here do we see any way that we can block it, bar it, keep other people from entering?
Not without putting a permanent rod or some kind of magic to reshape stone or whatnot. Don't believe you guys have any of those abilities, but again, this place has been abandoned for a while. There's not really any other way in or out. So this might be a good base of operations in Shadowfell.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
And try to homestead it.
Yeah, we need to clear it out completely first, but yeah, I think this would be a good place for us to have a base of operations here on this plane.
Yeah, so probably what we can do, if we go to the room with one of the teleportation circles that's partly complete, we can just double check and see whether it follows the same patterns. If it does, maybe try and just recreate one from scratch in the room. If not, at least we've maybe got some half-finished ones we can, not ideally location-wise, but got something to back it up.
So, Anarian, do you want to start looking through some of the rooms that we have missed while these guys are working? Or do you want to just kind of stay here and hang out?
We can at least begin our investigations, I suppose, you and I. We want to make sure that they're secured in this area.
So we'll leave my rod here. Someone can just reattach it.
Perfect.
And we have sending stones. We can communicate with them to let us in if we need it, or if we get into trouble.
That sounds like a good plan to me. Well, we're going to stay within the fortress, but we're going to try to clear out some of the other rooms within the fortress.
Some of the other rooms.
If we're going to establish this as a base of operation, we need to do a complete exploration, because the first time we came down here, there were several places we bypassed. So we need to make sure and investigate completely and make sure everything is clear and secure, and then we can start operating in this area.
I'm just nervous about you two going off on your own in case you run across any more specters or anything like that. We would be too far to really be able to help much.
We won't be far.
Okay.
We'll stay to the
I would say
area.
The first place we start is basically the doorway across the hall from where we're at now.
Yeah, so I was going to say,
really aren't that far.
if I remember right, as we came down the hallway, that first on the right was the storage room, and then the first on the left was the library, but there was one door directly across on the right-hand side as well.
And a little bit further
Yep.
down, but there's
A little
another
further
door on
down.
the right, and then there's a door at the end of the hallway. When
Well,
you
the
guys
door-
came through the first time, you went straight to the end, opened
Yep.
that door, and you left
Yep.
the door on the right,
Yeah.
the last door on the right alone.
Right.
Yep.
So-
We never
So
went in
we're
there.
gonna go to that door directly across and check that area.
Yep. So
Yeah.
will one of
So-
you come with us? We'll deactivate the
Secure.
rod. Once we leave the room, you can reactivate it so that you all are secure.
I'll do that.
Well, you could also sit there and, yeah, but you could. There's this hallway has 2 doors that are in it, so you guys only have one.
Or
rod,
yeah,
right?
or you can just secure this area too, if you would prefer.
I was gonna say we have two rods.
You know, there's one way in. There's the stairs coming down, and then there's the door into this hallway. Check the storeroom. There's nothing there. You have the library, so you could.
Oh, I see
block-
what you're saying. Block up where the stairway down was.
Or you had to come down the stairway, and then you had to go through a door. You could block that door.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
door
Yep.
is.
Why don't we
and
do
then-
that?
The issue I have with that though is that there were still other rooms along this level, like back toward the bedroom and where we found the Greelocks and things. We haven't checked some of those either.
No,
So I
that's-
don't want
and
to
that's
close
further
off
away.
that
Yeah.
end. Yeah,
Two
but I don't
hall-
want to close off that end and then have other things that might come in there. It's better to secure the library room door because we know that area is secure.
Okay.
At least that's my thinking. Anybody else
Actually,
think
you know what?
differently?
Sounds
Well,
fine.
let's go ahead and secure both, because this way we know as we're going through areas, nothing else will be coming
We'll
down.
be coming back.
Because remember
Okay.
the footprints we saw.
Yeah,
So
and that's
something
part of
has
what
been
concerns
coming
me.
through here.
Exactly. That's what concerns me is someone's been in the library since we've been here and we don't know where they came from. It could have been either down the stairs or it could have been from
Yep.
the other direction where we found the Rakshasa.
Right. Yep. So Scoob, we'll take Anarian's rod and go back towards that other door and secure it as well.
The one that's leading to
At the end of the
stairs?
hallway. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Do you-
will make a note.
Do you have the map for that level here?
Yes, but
available?
since you haven't
I've got-
explored all of it, I can't give it to you.
Oh, that's true, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start working on exploring it so we can have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll secure the hallway door and then go back. Obsidian and I'll go back to the doorway across the hall.
All right. So, if I'm right, we have the stairs that come down, go through one door. You have the kind of this room, go through another door, then a door on the right. You
Which is the
be a
hallway.
door, yeah, a door on the right as you come down.
That was the storage room.
Now, one
Because we
door,
came down
two
the
door,
stairs,
three
we
door.
took the first right.
Yeah, first right. So there's a door there. You pass through it. So that's the door you're going to secure to prevent get anyone coming down from the stairs to come into this hallway that
Right.
led to the storeroom and the library and
Right.
whatnot. Okay, so yeah, that's the way. The way up is now barred, and because there's still 2 rooms that you hadn't checked on that side.
Correct.
Down that hallway, right.
So now you're
And
going to
that-
come through, coming out the library, and you wanted to check the other set of doors across from the library.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
And so right now the library is barred and then the exit is barred, basically.
Yep. All right. So go and you check that door.
Listen first.
Listen.
All right. Whoever's listening, go and give me your perception.
24.
All right. You're not hearing anything as you kind of open up the door. Come in. You see a laboratory. There are workbenches that surround this room. It's roughly probably about 60 feet by 60 feet room. It's got workbenches in the center, along the walls, and all kinds of beakers and vials and stuff for alchemical research and whatnot.
I'll do I'll do a search of the room of the lab.
Okay.
Investigation.
Go ahead and roll it.
21.
All right. A lot of the stuff is broken or kind of rotted away from old age. You do find a couple of vials with some liquid in it, but you can't really tell if anything in there is still kind of viable.
Okay.
Or have decayed to a point.
Okay. We'll put those in the bag of holding to have somebody identify
We'll
them.
investigate it later. Yeah.
Yep.
There were 2 of them, you said?
Nice, John.
Yeah, two of the couple of them are one. It's like 2, 3, 4. 4 look like they're still kind of might be useful, but you're not sure what's in them.
Okay, so we'll take those 4 to identify later.
Yep. Let's see. The rest of the equipment and stuff is kind of rotted away. There are jars with some might have been components used for making things. Of course, they've all kind of rotted away. There's a few books in here as well. Kind of skimming through, they look like essentially alchemical recipe books.
Are they recoverable?
Yeah. I mean, they look like they're fairly decent shape for the area.
How many?
Can we determine if they were written here or if they are from the material plane?
Can't really tell from the age of the book. Probably a good rule of thumb, it might have been something that was here, created here versus brought over.
Okay.
So
it's
all fairly legible.
Yeah, we'll add those to the bag of holding to make sure we add to the stack that we're going to be investigating and looking through.
Okay.
Because we'd like to get everything kind of in one area.
In one place. Yeah, I agree.
That looks viable.
Yeah, that secret study room, I think, is a good place to put all the stuff that we're going to want to keep here.
Okay. You also notice that there is a door on the left, toward the back left corner of the room.
So back toward where the bedroom was?
Yes.
Okay. So go over and listen at that door.
Go over and, yep.
All right. You don't go and give me your perception, Anari.
That is going to be a 16.
Alrighty. Not really hearing anything through that door. As you open it, the hallway looks familiar. To the right is a short little hallway where the teleportation room was, and
that's where we found the mage, right?
Yep, that's where they found the mage's body.
Okay.
And as you kind of step in there, of course you have empty chests you left there, and there's still that body there, and all of the circles are littered about the room.
Okay.
And we don't see anything else that we may have overlooked the first time.
Yep.
How many glyphs or circles are on the floor? 3?
Double checking my notes here. There's two. There's two kind of circles in there. So they're that's what's kind of in there. It's like a 2. Actually, we'll just go. It's 1 large circle,
okay.
kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's got the different glyphs and stuff in it.
Yeah, I was remembering you kind of were describing it as like the Stargate with the destination points, right?
Yeah, there's a glyph on the floor. It's got various points on there. So,
okay. Now that we have kind of that description from Shrag on how that sort of operated, is it possible to try to ascertain maybe arrival or destination points?
Go and give me an Arcana check.
That is going to be a 17.
Looking at the glyphs, and you were asking, could it be used to connect? What was the? Tell me again the question.
You were describing it like the Stargate. You said there were
Mhm.
going to be arrival points and destination points.
Yep.
So based on what I'm seeing here in the room, am I able to maybe kind of figure out what this arrival point would be?
Looking through, there's a couple. Your home location. There's a few glyphs that are there, and based on a conversation with Shagnar, you see a couple where it talks about the Shadowfell, but you also see it looks like a lot of it seems to connect with like the astral plane to then move to other places.
Okay. So I want to make sure and take notes. We're going to bring Shragnaz back here, but I also want to take notes to show him so that he might have an idea before we get there too.
Yep.
And if you remember, I did draw what this looked like and
Yep.
had given it to Shrag before we left
Yeah.
to go to the other city. So
Yep.
he does know it's here and what it does look like.
Yeah.
Okay. I had forgotten that. Thank you.
Welcome.
And then the other thing I remembered, if I'm remembering our map correctly, turning back away from this room and looking straight back down that hallway, it was just an L hallway, right? That would take us back to the library, and then the one door is where we went into like the bedroom area. Is that correct?
Yes. You come out as you come out of there and come down. You see the hallway goes down. And the secret door that is still open, and the other secret door that leads all the way through and back down to the vault.
Yep.
So we'll
And
want to
since
probably
there's one secret door in this hallway, I do want to check and make sure that we haven't missed anything.
missed anything. Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Alrighty, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Nat 20 for 22.
Good, because I only had a 12. Dice jail.
Okay. What did you get, Nari?
Nat 20.
Alrighty. Taking the time to search the walls as you are moving toward the bedroom, you notice that there is a section of the wall that kind of sticks out to you, and you kind of look and you find a recess that indicates that there's a secret door right here. And as you kind of
I'll signal Obsidian and let him know what I've found.
So we wanna listen, because if I remember correctly, we heard voices calling us. Now I know we supposedly took care of that, but just to make sure,
That's
we want to listen.
Yep.
All right. All right, go ahead and listen.
Okay. So perception.
15 on my side. Another dice jail.
26.
Not really hearing anything through the door.
Okay. Very cautiously or check for traps first before we open it up.
All right. And as you open the door, you see a hallway that kind of goes and turns at an angle to the left, and then
Draw swords. Draw swords.
Yep. And then turns again, and then as you explore that down, it turns left again, and at the end of the hallway, it looks like it's caved in. Like this might have been another way, an escape, another way, a way out of the fortress or whatever. Considering it's a secret door and whatnot, but unfortunately, it's been caved in long ago.
So it's not recent rubble. It's been there for quite some time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it look stable, unstable? If we go take a look at it and like move a rock or two, does it look like
give me an investigation check.
Oh God.
I'm not gonna give you everything.
16.
19.
Yes, it looks fairly settled because of the cave in. The cave in was long ago.
And we don't see anything else up here. No signs of anybody, no footprints, dust on the ground. I mean, other than our footprints, of course.
No.
And
yours are the only footprints in here on as far as the dust. No one has been in here for. You're the first.
Just to follow that up a little bit, the footprints that we saw in the library, is it possible to maybe go back and retrace that? I'll talk to Obsidian about maybe we should follow and see where those came in and went out again. That might give us some knowledge as to maybe perhaps who's been coming in and out or where they've been coming from.
Yeah, we do need to do that.
Go ahead and give me a survival check.
Okay.
Him, me, both.
But
yeah, if you're both trying, either that or
I was gonna say,
assist
can
each other.
I'll assist Obsidian.
Huh. So what would that be? Advantage?
Yes.
Oh, that was much better. I have a 22.
Okay. Obviously there are none of those footprints in this space.
Right.
And kind of backtracking back to the library, and now that you're kind of seeing, you see this set. They're a slender footprint.
Okay.
Actually fairly reminiscent of yours, Anari.
So possibly Elvish.
Yep.
Okay.
As coming through, and you kind of track it through, it looks like they kind of followed the same path you, Day, and the four of you had done on your previous one, and they don't seem to have veered much further from that. It's almost like somebody came in, followed your path, and walked back out.
They followed back out. Okay. So really nothing that we're able to ascertain from that set other than spaces we've already covered and investigated.
Yeah. And
okay.
with Obsidian's roll, it looks like it might have been 2 sets of these elvish style footprints that
so
have
possibly through. 2 people or 2 trips.
2 people.
Okay. All right. So comparing notes with Obsidian on that, any other?
Why don't we compare notes? You want to switch back for a minute?
Yeah.
Because I'm
and then go back to the library, folks.
So coming back to the library, Wilhelmina and Snagraz, what are the 2 of you doing with all of this time? I imagine by now that Wilhelmina has spent all of her dispel magics to unlock things. How many did you have per long rest?
I can technically do 5 because I have 3 first levels and 2 3 third levels and 2 fourth levels.
Okay. How many do you wish to expend?
I don't know. That's tough.
We figured there's probably about 25 different cases in here with stuff in it. So it would take you a few days of dispelling glyphs to unlock everything.
I can throw in 5 a day with that one as well, because 5 for the first day, 4 for others, because I've got 1 stored in the ring. I can cast 3, and I can throw in my 4th level 1 as well. So initially I can do an extra 5 and then 4 a day.
Are we able to use a teleportation circle to get back?
Not sure, because Snagraz has not gone to investigate. Basically what's happened is Anari and Obsidian told you they were going to go and check out more of the space, just to at least to the path to the summoning chamber and then back, and kind of barred things. So you guys have been left here for a couple of hours because they've been kind of going through and being careful and whatnot.
Shrag, do you have a way to teleport us back?
Not currently, but they talk about the ring. Maybe we can go and finish that, but currently no. We're just stuck as we are.
I'd be happy to use all of my spells if we have a safe way to travel back. If not, that makes me a little bit nervous.
You also have a secure space to stay there for a couple of days.
Do we want to stay here for a couple days? I'm getting lots of nodding.
I think we would have talked about that. That was our original plan, was to
We discussed
was
we
to-
discussed
yeah.
staying in the library until we had ascertained all of the books and so forth that we needed to review and study,
All
and
right.
then try to set this up as a base of operation.
I'll use
And to
all
make
5
it
then.
and to make it even safer as a ritual, I can cast Tiny Hut.
Ah, excellent. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna use all 5 then.
Alrighty, so 10. So just under half of all of the cases opened. Still have another day of dispelling, and then you can go hog wild in research mode.
Hog wild. That's exciting.
Can you recover any spells with a short rest since we're kind of bebopping around?
Oh, actually, I can cast an extra one, so I can do 1 from the ring, 3, 4th level spell, and I can use my Arcane Recovery to get another one as well.
Nice.
There you go.
So it's still going to be 2 days or between two long
It's
rests
two long
to
rests.
unlock everything in the vault and make it all accessible.
Okay. Yeah, I want everything in that vault. I want to take it all back, except for the stuff that won't survive the trip.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can neaten that up into another cabinet and just keep it all together, so we can catalog it, put it together, keep it neat and tidy, be it in this room or another one.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Maybe you could make a little note that says like "Do not remove from Shadowfell" and like pin it underneath.
Shragnar holds up his hand. A quill appears from nowhere in his hand, and he writes on the wall. The quill disappears again.
That is nifty.
All the toys.
Trying to figure out where it came from. Is that in your sleeve? You are a magical little goblin.
Thank
Alright,
you.
so while they're exploring before they come back, what is it you two are doing in there other than dispelling? Or is it just dispelling the spells and starting to take a look? Tell me what you're doing.
Okay, so here's an idea. Is if I use my dispels first, I'll then get myself onto the desk and basically we'll then start cataloging, reading through them and making a note of them, because the wand I used to summon the unseen servant for actually then just open the doors just to make sure everything's okay, it's going to last for an hour anyway, and the rod's going to recharge on a daily basis anyway, so we've got loads of charges to do that, so we don't have to open stuff, and that can just be going backwards and forwards and doing that and bringing them over to the table.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll just I want to specifically be looking for how to close the door once I've done dispelling everything.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a Arcana check.
19.
All right. Going through, you do start to see some books and tomes on, and ones you've unlocked, and talking about how the gate was created. In fact, it's some very old, powerful magics, and you start to piece together, because it's some of the translation's a little rough because it's an dialect of Draconic. But you do start to see there is some discussion on this gate being made and how it was made, and some additional notes in a language that you don't understand, kind of scribbled off to the side because of the journal that outlines this process. So,
Like handwritten notes?
Yep.
That somebody added. Okay. Can I tell what language it is?
The language you don't understand, unfortunately.
Okay. I don't know what language this is, but I think this is the book we need to figure out how to close the gate to the Shadowfell. And I go on my little sending I don't know why I grabbed my ear. I go on my little sending stone and I'm like, hey, if you guys are almost done, there's some languages in here that I don't know. I know you guys know other languages than me, so maybe you could help us with that.
All right.
Who
So
has her stuff?
and that's what I was about to ask. Did we determine how we were paired? Is it me and
I wrote it in mine.
I think I have one paired with obsidian.
Okay.
I think so. But I've got.
And then
it in,
mine is with
my
Shrag.
notes.
Which is good because that's how the overlay is set up. So Obsidian and Will are connected, and Snag and Inari are connected.
Okay, that works.
Okay. So I get it, and then I respond that we'll be back shortly. We're almost done with what we're looking at.
Okay. Stay
And
safe out
now
there, guys.
those sending stones are used for the next day.
Okay.
Yeah, till dawn.
So after a
right.
little while, there's a knock on the door for Obsidian and Inari to come back in.
Yo. Boop.
So come back in the library, secure it, taking a look.
So
go ahead.
did Obsidian relay to me what Wilhelmina had talked about? So I'll say,
Of course.
okay,
Sorry.
just double checking. So I'll say, I think I have a solution on the language issue. Go ahead and show me the tome that you were talking about.
I'm also
and
thinking
then
if
I'll
Shrag
go
writes it in the
over-
book, would the book tell him what it is?
Well, I think I have a answer. So I'm going to go
I know what you're doing.
to my equipment, and I'm going to put down my visor on my helm of comprehend languages. And it says, for the duration, you understand the literal meaning of any spoken language that you hear. You also understand any written language that you see, but must be touching the surface on which the words are written. It takes about 1 minute to read 1 page of text. So I'm going to touch the tome and read through the passages and try to understand what is being written on the...
Let me read. Well, for the DM, let me read the last piece of that. This spell doesn't decode secret messages in a text or a glyph, such as an arcane sigil, that isn't part of a written language. So seems to be a written language, but I just wanted to throw the last part of that out there.
Okay. As you're looking at it, because cool toys and all that, the language is actually abyssal.
Okay.
That the notes were written in. Yeah.
Which I read.
Yeah. It's kind of abyssal, and you can tell it's like, again, an old kind of Draconic. Some symbols are kind of coded, so it's a little hard to tell, but it essentially talks about the creating of a gate from one plane to the next, and some notes that are the notes on the side about as far as what would take to do that. Essentially, this is how Loridak created the gate that led to the Shadowfell, that led from the Shadowfell to the Prime Material Plane several hundred years ago, and that it takes a lot of force to damage it, because you essentially have to break the obelisk,
Okay.
or a major high level spell to dispel the enchantment that causes the gate. The way it was closed the first time was there had to be two people on either side, one to try to reduce the magic ability, and the other one buried the obelisk in a landslide in order to try to close the gate. But if you want to close it permanently, you kind of need to dispel all of the magic to make the obelisk inert, or break it on one side or the other.
So either destroy the obelisk or dispel the magic. Those are kind of the two options.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Hey.
Probably why that glyph is here, so the person that was on the inside could get out.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense.
So after having discovered this information, then I'll tap Shrag on the shoulder and kind of signal for him to come along, and I'll take him over to show him the teleport circles in the room to see if he can actually, while he's there, decipher and maybe come up with a way to establish either a teleportation means at that room, or maybe recreate it within the secret library room.
So, just a quick question, Scoob. With the circles, obviously, I had to complete the one back at the other library, and this one here is also incomplete.
It's faded.
Faded, okay.
Faded and kind of faded and kind of damaged. It wasn't maintained.
Right, okay.
Even a permanent teleportation circle requires some type of maintenance.
Cool.
This one has gone 300-400, couple hundred years unmaintained.
Cool. I wasn't quite sure whether maybe somebody had actually deliberately broken both the circles to break connection.
Give me an investigation check.
Do. Oh, thank you. That is a dirty 20.
There are some scratches in some of the glyphs. You kind of piece together that it's from some chests, some of the empty chests being kind of dragged across some of the, but it is repairable. It would probably take you about a day or so to repair it, and then you would be able to use that gate to get it to function again. And if your next question is, can I connect to the Twilight Mansion? Yes. Once you repair the gate, you should be able to put in and cat and do the casting to do that if you have access to teleportation spell.
That might be an issue.
Question for you. Well, two questions for you then. Does it? Well, I asked Shrag. Does this look like it can reach out to any place else besides the mansion? If so, we may not want to use this one. Second, we have our little drop pod stones that have access to a teleport spell, but it's a unique item. Would that be of assistance? If not, we know the Lord at the mansion is looking at hiring a mage. We'll get him to assist. Hopefully, he will be a high enough level for teleport.
I mean, just to get another silly question with regards to the style of the actual teleportation circles, would it be sort of almost like a wizard's signature in the fact that they would be designed in a certain way, or are they just fairly generic in the design of them?
Oh, like everything magic users, they're the caster has a particular flair on things, or especially when it's a created spell by a high level magic user, there'll be some influx or signature, so to speak.
Cool.
Kind of like a Monet painting has some kind of identifier that Monet did it. So
Cool.
magic and custom spells kind of work in that same sense.
Cool. So given how all this looks faded, given the way that the Shadowfell works time-wise, that could influence it. Does it have the same feel as if the same person at the mansion created it?
Oh no.
Cool.
No, we're talking we're talking 500 years difference.
Cool. In which case, then, yeah, it could go elsewhere. It could have been set to do something else. So, yeah.
Oh yes, this as you're looking at this one, taking the notes, and now getting that, because while Obsidian was thorough in his, there are some finer details that you're picking up as you kind of go through this, because you have the book's influence as well. This is actually could go to just about any plane, anywhere.
So this would be a really good base of operations for us to establish then, because with that, once Shrag starts learning how to do this, then we can essentially go anywhere we need to go.
Or want to go.
Yeah, that's true.
You see icons that depict Sigil. You see icons that depict the elemental plane of fire, water. You see stuff that indicates a land called Exandria. You see pics that show Faerun, Ravnica. You see them all on here. This is your gateway to about any.
Cool. Just from again the exploration that Obsidian and I have done while they've been studying, have we cleared out most of that area?
You basically got
from where we locked out.
The escape path all the way down to the library. So there's still backtracking through the vaults and whatnot, and then there's still the rooms that you have not searched are all still there, which we will get to on our next session, because it's almost 1 o'clock. Unfortunately, I don't have a really cool cliffhanger because everybody is away and no one would hear it if I did have it. So yeah, we're gonna go with it's been a study mission.
Steady mission.
I don't know. I mean, the circle opening up to anywhere we want to go, that's a pretty big drop.
It is.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I'm liking it.
Okay.
So you'll take the long rest and then you'll be good, and the next day going through more. So we'll pick up with the next day. Again, trying to going through what you can secure, and checking things and clearing out the trash, and then moving in to explore the other rooms. Because if you want to do it as a pair or as a group, how you want to try and do that? Which I'll give you. You have the week to think about it.
To discuss it, yeah.
Yeah, and then next week we'll work on that plan of action to go with that.
Okay.
And taking a moment to thank the chat, thank the community. Brack Oren, thank you for the bits. Thanks for coming to check us out. He had a great comment when he first came in. Woohoo! AMD and D&D in the morning. It's like, glad we can make your morning enjoyable.
It's a great way to start a Saturday morning.
Oh, yes. Lovely. And thank you everyone else, all the subs, the bits, and everything that keeps this channel going, because it takes resources to do this. And without your support, we would just be talking into the void. And sometimes that's not necessarily a good thing. But that being said, we're all going to take our afternoons. And tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, we will be back for Challenge Accepted. They will continue their murder mystery investigation. If anybody has anything else, then we will wish you all a wonderful afternoon, a wonderful weekend, and we will see you on our next stream. Bye, everybody.
Bye.